our flow pattern and then the ball pattern. So there's the little X up there. This is shipped in the closed position. You can see it again here, a little bit of a good top view that we're shipping it in the closed position. So to do so, the flats on this coupling give us our direction of flow. So in this manner, we're actually, this would be the open position. And if I take our cap off here, we'll see that in fact, I don't know if you can see that we're in the open position.
Blue a little bit on the other side.
There we go. Let's take these off on the other side. And now you can see we're in the open position. There you go. Can you see daylight through there? Okay.
Totally see it.
So here we can see the direction of flow through the pipe, and the flats on this coupler show us that we're in the open position. We actually want to ship it in the closed position. So we'll just simply rotate the valve stem, or this coupler, to the closed position. And we try to get it as close as possible. These actuators I've already pre-calibrated on valves. The calibration instruction will be another video or another short clip. But this will get us in the ballpark. And once we go to mount the actuator to the valve, bracket and coupling, if we need to move this ever so slightly, that'll be okay, because our hand adjustment may not be perfect, but the actuator adjustment that was already made when it was pre-mounted on a valve, that was already done correctly. So, yeah, so that's that. So now we have our bracket on the valve. We have our coupling on the valve stem. We have the valve in the position just the way it is in the photograph. And now as we mount the actuator can be mounted in any number of ways. See if it's just a symmetrical 4-bolt pattern. Of course, because there's a mating slot that will match up with the valve coupling slot, there's 2 ways that we could mount this. One with our handle facing us and one with the handle away from us. And as we want these assemblies to go out repeatably correct, we can see that we're going to mount this with our split body to the left of the valve stem is on our left. The hand wheel here will be away from us. So if we look here, the valve is correct. Just as an example, it would be possible for us to try to mount it this way, but as you can see, that would not be correct because our split body would be to the right of the valve stem and we want it to be on the left. So with the split body on the left of the valve stem, we're now going to mount the actuator in this fashion. We can look at the top and see how it's in the closed position, and the handle is on the opposite side. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can mount this on here. Sometimes you have to hold the coupling just to get it correct. Fortunately, it's a little bit taller. Let's try to get this guy in there. There we go. Well, we got lucky. It just pressed right on. So I was lucky. As I mentioned, sometimes you might have to take your wrench and adjust the stem ever so slightly so that it matches. And if you're able to sit it on the stem, but the threads, the studs don't match up to the holes, you can just set it on, usually just rotate it using the actuator ever so slightly, and then go ahead and pop it down. So now that we've gotten to this point, we have our 4 3/8/16 torque lock nuts, the oval lock nuts, and they'll go on using a 9/16 wrench. And again, fortunately, these are not Teflon lock nuts. They're actually pretty stiff to go on because they're oval. They're made to give great locking integrity. And in this particular case, some folks might want to go opposing sides the way we would on a car tire. Lug nuts where you just go opposite sides. In this particular case, there's only 4 there's so much here that's holding it in alignment that I see no problem with doing one side and then the other. Again, they're nice and tight. They're hard to put on, but that's going to make it hard to come loose. We'll flip her over, do the other side. So then there we have it. We'll just double check the other side. And looks pretty good. So now we've got our assembly. Looks just like the picture. And we're good to go. And the testing of the travel with the electric actuator, we'll have to remove the cover. There's cam adjustments. I guess I'll include in this video, we won't actually do the stroke adjustments, but for some reason the manufacturer, their setting of the travel cams for the travel limit switches for it to go full open and full closed, and these mechanical travel stops are really not set predictably. So what I found is to ensure that we can adjust our switches without having the motor just continue to run because it's hit the mechanical travel stops before it hit the limit switch, shutting off the motor. We need to loosen this lock nut and back, while holding the lock nut in place, we need to back this Allen screw out about a turn and a half. So that would be 360 plus 180. What's that?
520.
520. There you go. It's always good to have somebody smarter than you nearby or better at math anyway. So 520. So I just found it a full 360 and then another 180. Backs the mechanical stops out enough on both the travel in the clockwise and the counterclockwise direction to enable us to make our limit switch settings. And here I give in an instruction which we have on record. I do have instructions. Loosen lock nuts on the stops just enough to allow for rotation of the travel stops. Using an Allen wrench, rotate the stops. Here I say 360, but recently I found 360 is not enough. So we'll increase that to 520, and this will enable minor adjustments of the travel cams without engaging the mechanical stops. So once we make those turns, then we go ahead and tighten up our lock nuts, and we're back in business. We're then able to make our actual cam adjustments, which are on another video. Each actuator comes with this nice little bag attached, and in this bag is our cam adjustment tool. So I usually just take a blade, cut it open, use the mechanical adjustment tool. I put in a FS Welsford Company wiring diagram and include the cam adjustment tool, and then close this bag right back up with tape. And again, we have another instruction on how to actually do the cam adjustments. And we make those cam adjustments using this wonderful rig that enables us to hook up our 3 required wires. One is our neutral. Which goes to terminal 1. Terminal 2 gets the black wire for power in the closed direction. And then the red wire goes to terminal 3 for power in the open direction. So we can just land our wires, and then we can change our direction. Black wire hot, red wire hot. And then we have an on and off. So we could go, if we want to go to the closed position, we have our switch to the black wire for closed, and then we turn the power on. We could run it closed. Once it stops going and goes closed and we're done making that cam adjustment, we can turn it back off and go to the open direction, and then kick it back on. And then we'll run to the open. So we could actually go full open with the power on, and once it's gone full open, we could just simply flip our switch, and it'll reverse right and start driving right away back into the closed direction. I like to turn the power off just as a function of habit, so that I know in between every step that I make, I'm taking the power off. And this device is just a very simple device, and on the other end, we've got our plug. We can just plug that into the wall outlet or extension cord, and should be good to go. So that's it. We have all the tools. We have all of the documentation. We have a list of vendors that we can get all the right parts. And it's just very important on these assemblies never to do any substitutions. We always want to make sure that we are using the correct hardware that meets all the specifications. The actuators and the valves are a given. Those are very specific. And then when it comes to the brackets, the bracket and coupling and all the hardware, we do not want to substitute any of that, because then that would be supplying something that was not actually submitted to the shock and vibe test, and we know that it will be safe and passed. And we want to make sure that our friends at the U.S. Navy don't have any valves fail due to our negligence. So that's it. I think we pretty much covered the assembly of these, and in another video, we'll cover the actual cam adjustments and cycle testing.